Hi everybody, my name is Kathy Marquette and I'd like to welcome you to ACCT 215, Business in the Legal Environment. I'm going to be your instructor for this fall semester and I wanted to spend just a few minutes with you to introduce myself and to tell you a little bit about what you're getting into. Business in the legal environment is nothing more than a fancy term for business law. We're going to start off by having a brief history of how our court system came to be in the United States. We'll talk a little bit about the Constitution, amendments to the Constitution, which most of you are familiar with. The first 10 are the Bill of Rights. So we're going to talk a little bit about federalism. We're also going to talk about the levels of government at the local, state, and federal level. We'll talk a little bit about diversity of the law. So, for example, if we have law that happens in one state, how is it going to change if it moves into activity in another state? So we'll start out very basic. We'll kind of give you a brief overview, and then we'll get into courts and jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is nothing more than the authority of a court to hear and decide a case. So there is exclusive jurisdiction, which means the federal government is going to have the federal power to decide a case, versus concurrent jurisdiction, which means we'll have the state government as well as the federal government involved with the court systems in both to help us solve a problem where we have something that happened in one state but it violated federal law in another. So there's lots of different scenarios when it comes to the law, but many different types of jurisdiction. Then we'll get into some more specific things. We'll talk about the court process itself, what a summons and a complaint are. We'll talk a little bit about what the clerk of court does. And then we'll move into the district courts, the appellate courts, the state courts, and the federal court system. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Then we'll get into specific topics. We'll talk about crimes, misdemeanors versus felonies, penalties, and what types of time might be served for a misdemeanor versus a felony. Then we'll also get into torts and negligence. We'll talk about liability, product liability. We'll also discuss intellectual property like patents, copyrights, and trademarks. We'll talk about cybersecurity and cyber law. In addition, we'll go into traditional and e-contracts, and we'll talk about the 4 necessary elements for a contract to be valid. We'll talk about capacity and legality of a person entering into a contract. We'll talk about the powers that a minor has and somebody who is representing a minor versus an adult. And then finally at the end we'll talk a little bit about real property and wills and trusts and estates. So we give you a hodgepodge of topics. We usually cover 12 chapters or 12 units in the 16-week period. So I enjoy this class because we try and relate real activities that are happening in society, in business, to this class. So you're understanding the purpose in taking it. So a couple things that you need to do to get the class started on the right foot. You need to access the class through our online platform, Blackboard. You need to find somebody, since you're an online student, who's going to proctor your exams. A proctor is somebody who will administer a password to get you into each unit exam. And I would ask that you would have that back to me by August 31st. That's the deadline, so that you're ready with the proctor and I can get the password sent to that person before your first exam. Another thing I'd ask you to do is to print out the course syllabus. This is a listing of everything about the class. It tells you about the textbook, which is a customized book. You may be able to find it used, but most of the time it will be available predominantly through the NDSCS bookstore. You can order it online or you can go physically to the NDSCS campus in Wahpeton. Also, I would encourage you to print out and review the course schedule. Each unit in this class has an opening date and each unit has a closing date. We usually open at midnight, we usually close at midnight. I do not accept late work unless it's an emergency or an extenuating circumstance. So when those units close, you're not able to submit your documents anymore, your assignments. We will have online discussions to mimic what we do in the campus class. There is a rubric, which is kind of a grading scale that you will be able to look at in the course syllabus so that you know how I will grade those discussions. And you will have to post your own response first and then respond to X number of students. Also, make sure that you print off the instructions to access Pearson MyLab. So not only are we working in Blackboard, which is where you'll find your course information, but we're also going to be doing assignments through Pearson, who is the publisher of our book. They have assignments that you will access through Blackboard in each unit. There are a set of instructions that you'll find under the Start Here button in the left navigation in Blackboard. Always, if you have questions, please call me or email me or stop by my office. I'm in Horton 230 Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. All of that information is listed on the course syllabus. Again, please print that out, as well as the course schedule and the instructions for Pearson MyLab. The number one tip I can give you for being an online student is read. Read your book, read your assignments, and do not wait until the day before the unit closes to do your assignments. Time management is crucial. You have to respond to so many students in the discussions. Don't wait until the night before and hope that everybody else has already responded. Practice and be proactive with your time, and do little portions of your assignments each day. If you have questions, again, I will try and assist you. If you have technical problems with Blackboard, there is Blackboard information in your syllabus that you can contact for assistance. So again, communication is key, but please read your book, read your assignments, and make sure that you practice good time management. I look forward to working with you. Business law is an exciting topic because it's changing as laws change and as we interpret laws. So if you have questions, stop and see me. Otherwise, I look forward to working with each and every one of you this semester.